I think in my town there are a lot of public transportation that use in society, such as ojek online. Ojek online is bike transportation. It's like a taxi, but use a bike.
Okay.
And
okay. And do you think that the ojek online could be improved?
I believe that ojek online will be improved someday. For example, maybe with the regulation on the ojek online, because nowadays ojek online only have one regulation in Indonesia, and I think it is a limitation for ojek online to improve their transportation or their system.
Okay, thank you. And do you think that people should use public transportation more?
Yes, I think people should use public transportation to decrease the crowded in Jakarta, because we can see that Jakarta have a lot of car on the street, and it make a bad impact for environment, such as pollution that car made.
Okay, thank you. So, and how we encourage people to use a public transportation more and more?
I believe we can, and people will use the public transportation if there are maximum transportation in a lot of area. For example, people will use MRT in Jakarta, and I believe that people like use MRT because it is more efficient. But MRT not cover in a lot of area in Jakarta. So I think if the government budgeting more for public transportation, such as MRT in everywhere in Jakarta, automatically people will use MRT.
Okay, thank you. And now let's talk about rubbish.
Yeah.
Okay, why do people throw rubbish in public places?
I believe because there's a limit of trash in public area. So people will throw their rubbish after they use it. For example, if my friend eat food on the street and they cannot see a trash or garbage near them, they will throw their rubbish on the street or everywhere.
And how do you feel when you see rubbish in the streets?
When I see rubbish on the street, I feel disgusting because it is not good for your healthy. Because when there are a lot of rubbish on the street, there will be a lot of mosquitoes on the street too, and it will make a bad it will make a negative impact for your body.
Okay, do you always try to recycle things like paper and plastic?
Honestly, I just tried to recycle things when I was in senior high school. It was a school project, so I made things with paper that I don't use anymore. I made like a box with a multifunction. It was like a storage I made with the paper that I use.
Okay, thank you very much. And now let's move to speaking part 2. So this is the questions. Can you see the question, Azka?
Yeah.
And then I would like to ask you to describe newspaper or magazine you enjoy reading. So you should say what kind of newspaper or magazine, how often you buy it, what articles and information it contains, and explain why you enjoy reading. So you have 1 minute to do so. You can start now. Okay, Aska, it's already 1 minute. So you have 2 minutes to talk. Do not stop before you are being interrupted. Then you can start talking now.
If I being asked this question, I will honestly answer. Actually, I don't like reading books like I was a kid. But I won't tell you, when I was a kid, I like to read a teen magazine. I bought a teen magazine once in a week, but now it's like once in a blue moon I buy a magazine because I don't like it anymore. But when I read the magazine, I like to show the column about psychology because uh, it was interesting, and when I know a lot of psychology, I will know how to communicate with others, how to make a contact with other, and how to make the people comfort when they talk to me. And I believe if there are more column about psychology in the magazine, it will make a good impact for a society, because you will know how to handle people, you will know how to make a good relationship, so it will make a good impact for your society. So
Okay, thank you very
yeah.
much. Yes, thank you. And now let's move to speaking part 3. Okay, and now let's move to speaking part 3. And Okay, now let's talk about newspaper. Okay, and in what ways newspaper are better for learning about news than listening to the radio and watching television?
Uh, I believe newspaper is better than radio because when you read newspaper, you will have a lot of you will have a lot of information. However, in the radio, you just hear a limit of information because limitation of the time they spread the information. And when people read the information on the newspaper, they can read twice so they can understand fully what the information on the newspaper. Because sometimes when people just hear on the radio, they can misunderstand what the news on the radio, because sometimes it's too fast when you hear something on the radio.
Okay, do you think that newspapers should be completely free to say whatever they want?
I believe a newspaper must completely tell a story about something. But I think it is hard to newspaper tell news about something completely, because sometimes there are a lot of interest in public sector, so they cannot put a lot of information on the news nowadays.
Okay, what do people enjoy reading in your country?
I think it depends on the people. If it come in older age, I think there will be enjoy reading a newspaper. But if there are younger age, I think they will be lazy to read something like a newspaper, and they will be enjoy read a magazine with a lot of picture in there. And but honestly, in my country, a lot of children don't like to read newspaper or books. They prefer to watch movies.
Okay, thank you. Do you think that it is important for people to read a lot?
Yes, I think it is important for people to read a lot, because they will increase their knowledge with read, and they can know what happened in the world. They can know knowledge everywhere. Just read, just only read the book. You you some people say that you will improve your ability if you travel a lot of places in the world. But I believe that with books you will increase your ability too.
Okay, thank you very much, Azka. This is the end of the speaking test. I will give you feedback then after I listen to your recording. Oh yeah,